which was the first Indian brand to participate in the gruesome Dakar Rally, which is the brand which has tasted a lot of success in rallying and off-road racing. Yes, again TVS. Despite its success, it never had an ADV motorcycle in its portfolio, but that has finally changed with the introduction of the new TVS Apache RTX. R stands for Rally, T for Touring, and X for Extreme. So let's find out if the new TVS Apache RTX is up to the challenge or not. So let's start this video with performance because this engine is all new. This is not the engine that we saw on the BMW 310s. This is a 299cc single cylinder liquid cooled engine designed and developed by TVS themselves. The power figures are impressive, the torque figures are impressive on paper, but how's the real world performance? Well, we could ride the motorcycle mostly on trails and a bit of highway, so I won't get into the highway performance. First, let's talk about the trail riding. On the trails, this motorcycle engine has good low end torque. We were able to ride this motorcycle in second gear, third gear over the trails. It never felt out of space. Having said that, I think maybe in the off-road mode, if the engine can have a bit more punch, low end, it would be more fun and engaging to ride. But I think for most of the riders who are going for trail riding, the second gear, third gear performance of this motor is very tractable. It will be fun to ride. I think this tractability of this engine will be very good in city traffic also. Again, that is something we'll answer only in the road test. Talking about the highway speed, I was able to do a top speed of just 90 kph because we were riding in the mountain road. At those speeds, the engine felt good. Yes, it's a bit buzzy. It's not completely refined, but the vibrations are not very harsh. So in terms of the feel, it is similar to that of a KTM 250 Duke, the engine vibration, the engine feel. So I think they have done a great job with this engine. But how is the highway performance, how is the city performance is something we can only answer in a road test video. Second thing is the gearbox. It gets a 6-speed gearbox. The gear shift quality is very nice. You also get the quick shifter in some of the variants. The quick shifter works flawlessly. So in terms of the engineering in the engine department, the gearbox, the TVS Apache RTX does deliver. So being an adventure motorcycle, how is the off-road performance of the RTX? And it is actually very good. The suspension with the long travel really helps in terms of taking all the bumps and the undulations of the road. We were going some very rough trails in our ride and the motorcycle felt at peace. My only concern would be like maybe in the off-road mode, it could have a better low end punch when you want to ride fast on the trails or you want to do some slides. But for I think majority of the riders, this engine tuning is spot on because I was able to ride on the trails in third gear also while climbing because the torque and the power were helping each other. So in terms of off-road performance, the RTX feels comfortable and nice. It's not a hardcore off-roader because again, it gets alloy wheels. Those tires also are decent. They are not the best out there. Second aspect is the way you stand on the motorcycle. The riding posture when you want to stand on the bike also, it feels very natural, very comfortable. So yeah, you can go do off-road riding, not very hardcore. Trails easily it can do. On bad roads also, it feels very composed. So in terms of the ADV aspect, I think the RTX does deliver. Being an adventure motorcycle, TVS designers have adopted an all-new design language for the RTX. And I must confess that the styling of the motorcycle is bang on. It looks big, butch and aggressive. In fact, the proportions are such that it feels like a mid-capacity premium ADV bike. The bike features a split LED headlight and the DRLs look aggressive. The windscreen is tall and the golden upside-down fork with the chunky tires makes the front end look dominant. The fuel tank is also nicely sculpted and flows well with the overall design. The contrast finish on the frame is a nice addition too. So yeah, with respect to styling, TVS designers have done a commendable job and the TVS Apache RTX attracts a lot of attention. And with respect to features too, the bike comes loaded. There is a 5-inch TFT console which is loaded with information and you can switch the layout and brightness. It gets cruise control, but we couldn't test it as the roads were all mountain twisties. The bi-directional quick shifter worked flawlessly and you can also mirror maps on the screen via the TVS app, something similar to the Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. But the maps depend on your phone connectivity and during our ride it went off on multiple occasions. On the safety front, you get traction control and dual channel ABS. On the BTO variant, you also get TPMS. So as you can see, in terms of features, the TVS Apache RTX comes loaded and is very, very modern. So let's check out the ergonomics of the new TVS Apache RTX. First up, the seat height. The seat height is slightly on the taller side. It is at 835 mm, which is fine by an adventure tourer dimension and standards, because the ground clearance is also very high at 200 millimeters. So let's see whether or not I can flat foot. So I am 5 feet 10 tall, weigh around 100 kg. I am able to flat foot with my riding boot. So maybe for shorter riders, the seat height would be a bit of concern, but again, by adventure tourer standards, the seat height feels nice. Second thing is the riding posture. You get a nice flat wide handlebar. The foot peg is also center set, so you can see the riding posture is very upright and very comfortable, just like a typical ADV. And even the POV for the rider, because of the screen, the windscreen and the nice wide handlebar and the handguards, you feel like you're sitting on a premium motorcycle. The second thing is the fuel tank shape also, because you can lock your legs very easily on this motorcycle. Even for the rider, the seat space is a lot. I can easily move around back and forth. And the pillion seat also looks nice. You also get a nice chunky grab rail. So in terms of ergonomics, the RTX is very comfortable and nice. Talking about the weight, the curb weight is also not very high. It is 180 kg, kind of manageable for a motorcycle of this size. So I think in terms of ergonomics, in terms of the dimensions, TVS have got it right with the RTX. So apart from a new engine, the TVS Apache RTX also gets an all-new frame. It's a steel trellis frame. The swing arm is a cast aluminum unit. So in terms of handling, the motorcycle feels very composed, confident, inspiring. We were riding through some very tight mountain twisties. The RTX felt absolutely confident. You could actually ride this motorcycle fast. It is engaging, it is rewarding. And even the front end, the 19-inch wheel helps in that case. It doesn't feel like a proper 19-inch, because on some corners it felt like a 17-inch wheel. So in terms of the pure handling dynamics, the RTX has the pure Apache DNA. Second aspect of the motorcycle is the suspension. It gets an upside down fork and a monoshock at the rear. Both get long travel suspension. The suspension tuning is absolutely spot on, because we were riding this motorcycle on a lot of broken roads at slow speeds, at high speeds. The ride quality felt very composed, very comfortable. So in terms of ride quality also, I think TVS has got the tuning spot on. On the BTO variant, you get adjustable suspension, but I think even with the stock setting, the suspension is up to the task, and it is a very comfortable motorcycle, which is a very important aspect for an adventure tourer. The final aspect is the brakes. You get dual channel ABS on the front and rear. The rear can be switched off in the off-road mode when you want to have more control, when you want to slide the rear. You can do that. The brake bite felt good, but how is the braking at high speed is something we can only answer in a road test video. So overall, the handling dynamics, the comfort aspect, the Apache RTX is very engaging, very fun and very comfortable. So it's time for verdict, but let me be very clear, this is not a road test video. This is a first ride impression, because we could only ride this motorcycle around the mountain twisties and on off-road days. How is the highway performance? How is the city performance? Something that we will answer in a proper road test video. So make sure that you subscribe to Acko Drive. Now, the pricing of this motorcycle is absolutely aggressive, because the base variant is priced under 2 lakhs. There are 3 variants. The top end is under 2,30,000 rupees. The major difference is in terms of features and a bit of hardware. So you can pick and choose the variant you want to buy. And in terms of pricing, the closest competition are the Suzuki V-Strom 250 and the KTM 250 Duke. And when compared to those motorcycles, it offers you better features, better performance. So yes, the value proposition has been delivered. But for me personally, the best aspect of this motorcycle is the comfort. The suspension tuning is spot on. The riding ergonomics are very comfortable. So if you want a motorcycle to go out touring, I think the TVS Apache RTX is very good and feels very wholesome as a motorcycle. And if that was not enough, it comes loaded with features. As I mentioned before, there are 3 variants, so you can pick and choose the variant that you want to buy. And I think TVS has got a winner on their hands, because in terms of the packaging, in terms of the styling, in terms of the comfort, the RTX does deliver. But what is our final call on this motorcycle is something that we will reserve our opinion till we get to do a proper road test of this video. But from a first ride impression, it is very impressive.